Government ministries, departments and agencies challenged to embrace digital transformation. Malawi Broadcasting Corporation's 2025 Entertainers of the Year event cancelled. And in business, the Malawi Stock Exchange registers a drop in shares traded and value during the month of November. Thank you for joining us. Now the news in detail. The Public Sector Reforms Information Management System has been launched with a call for ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, to embrace digital systems to improve public service delivery and better serve citizens. Vice President Justice Dr. Jane Ansah met the call at the launch in Lilongwe. Austin Fogola reports.
Justice Dr. Jane Ansah says the newly launched system will strengthen transparency and provide the public with timely information on the progress of reforms being implemented by MDAs. Dr. Ansah says with the system in place, the public will be able to track reform progress using digital devices and receive services more efficiently. The first Vice President believes the system will address long-standing complaints Malawians have faced under the paper-based system.
More than 6 decades after attaining independence, we still find ourselves at the bottom of key economic and development indicators. This is a situation we must change by embracing positive transformation driven by the digitalization of our service delivery system through reforms such as the Public Sector Reforms Information Management System.
Meanwhile, the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, has commended the government for developing the Public Sector Reforms Information Management System, saying it will remove bottlenecks that ministries, departments and agencies have been facing, particularly in coordinating reports. Chika Charles Aniekwe, Deputy Resident Representative for UNDP, says the system has the potential to transform the country's public service.
In terms of transformative nature of achieving its goals, what is around information management, as the name implies, you're going to help us in terms of managing information. But secondly, a lot of data is going to be generated. So now you have an opportunity to log into the system and you have data that you're looking for. Thirdly, let me talk about reporting. You see, the system will also be able to generate reports, not just from one institution, but from different MDAs. So as citizens, so which means you'll be able to go to the platform and through the reports, you're going to see what's happening across different MDAs and different departments. So that's transformational in nature.
The system is expected to help government track reform progress required to achieve Malawi's development goals and reduce the administrative workload that has been increasing due to reliance on manual paper-based processes. It also provides a platform for the media to access up-to-date information on reforms being implemented by various MDAs. Austin Fukula, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Government will look into the findings and recommendations contained in the final report of the European Union Observer Mission on the 16 September general election. Vice President Dr. Jane Ansah made the remarks in Lilongwe when EU Election Observer Mission paid her a courtesy call. Justice Ansah said structural issues contained in the report require government's attention across the electoral cycle. Details in this report by Nkhani.
The EU Observer Mission to Malawi released its final report on September 16 general election, highlighting several gaps in the electoral process. The report offers 21 recommendations targeting improvements in election management, campaign funding, media independence, representation of women and persons with disabilities, and timely resolution of disputes. Vice President Justice Dr. Jane Ansah says government is taking the recommendations seriously closely and forms the basis for continued engagement. She said in the coming months, government will engage relevant institutions and stakeholders to consider the recommendations and identify priority areas of the reforms.
Let me assure you that the government of Malawi takes these observations seriously. We are particularly mindful of the issues relating to public media conduct, campaign finance, inclusion of women and young people, and the transparency in results management. We see this report as a basis for continued engagement rather than an end point. In the coming months, government will engage relevant institutions and stakeholders to consider the recommendations and identify priority areas of reform. We would welcome continued technical engagement with the European Union as we take this work forward.
The head of the EU Observer Mission said the identified gaps in the electoral cycle could undermine the credibility of future elections if not addressed.
And these are all about consideration to enhancement of future electoral processes. They're not orders or instructions to Malawi in any way. This is very much an acknowledgement that Malawi is a sovereign state. Malawi has signed up to international human rights agreements and to regional human rights agreements within SADC, within the African Union. So what we are saying in our report is consider the obligations that you as a state have undertaken and consider then how there might be greater enhancement of compliance with those instruments by considering our recommendations. So 21 recommendations, 6 of them have particular priority in that we think they will enhance political rights in future electoral processes.
Earlier, the Vice President met with the outgoing Japanese ambassador to Malawi, Yoichi Oya, who has concluded his 3-year tour of duty in Malawi. Dr. Ansah commended the outgoing ambassador for his outstanding contribution to fostering strong bilateral relations between Malawi and Japan. The Vice President further said Ambassador Oya has played a pivotal role in supporting Malawi's inclusive and sustainable socio-economic development. She acknowledged Japanese financial assistance to Malawi, including grants and loans towards the country's economic growth and poverty reduction efforts. Ambassador Oya expressed his deep affection for Malawi, describing it as his second home. He expressed optimism for continued collaboration between the two countries. Japan also supports Malawi's agricultural sector through technical cooperation and investment, helping to improve food security and promote economic growth. Yamikani Simtowe, MBC Lilongwe.
The government of Morocco has pledged to collaborate with Malawi in expanding and strengthening the country's energy sector. Moroccan ambassador to Malawi, Abdelkader Naji, made the commitment in Lilongwe during the opening of investment meetings involving Moroccan delegates and officials from Malawi's Department of Energy. The discussions are expected to explore investment opportunities in power generation, renewable energy technologies, and infrastructure development. Olive Perry reports.
Principal Secretary for Energy, Engineer Emmanuel Matapa, says government has lined up several initiatives aimed at boosting the country's energy sector. Matapa says the goal is to double Malawi's electricity generation capacity from the current 550 megawatts to about 1,000 megawatts. He added that the cooperation with the Moroccan government comes at the right time as Malawi moves to expand power generation and improve energy access.
We are also looking at increasing participation of private sector, including in the solar sector. Luckily enough, our colleagues in Morocco, they are advanced in terms of these technologies. So our Foreign Affairs Ministry went to Morocco. This is a follow-up. This is the result of that. We said, okay, us in power, we need our colleagues, not only in infrastructure, but also looking at technologies. So this is what it was trying to leverage the synergies of the two countries so that we build a better Africa, better Malawi for all.
Moroccan ambassador to Malawi, Abdulkader Naji, says his government is committed to supporting Malawi in its energy development efforts. Naji said strengthening the energy sector is key to accelerating national development.
This is to strengthen the cooperation, also to support the Republic of Malawi in this field to at this update and to make progress. Especially energy is very important not only for the household, also because of the industry. You cannot put an industry in Malawi without providing them energy.
The visit by the Moroccan delegation follows a recent trip to Morocco by Malawi's Minister of Foreign Affairs, George Chabonda, who held key bilateral ties with his counterpart, Moroccan Minister of Foreign Affairs and African Cooperation. Beyond energy, Morocco also provides Malawi with support in sectors such as education and agriculture. Olive Piri, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Expectations are high on the hiked Constituency Development Fund, CDF, in increasing money circulation and improving the country's economy at large. Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Ben Piri, made the observation in Mzuzu when he interacted with building and civil contractors in the northern region. Temba Male has filed this report.
Speaking to over 70 contractors drawn from various districts in the northern region, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Ben Malungapiri, said the 5 billion kwacha CDF will benefit local contractors as they will be able to pick jobs within their local councils. According to the minister, this will mean more grassroots people being employed by the contractors and more suppliers having a readily available market, thereby having an increased flow of money. He then warned the contractors against engaging in substandard work, saying his ministry will not hesitate to disengage any contractor involved in shoulder work.
Whenever you travel in a country, foreign country, and you see infrastructural development booming, mushrooming everywhere, you know that the economy of this particular country is on track. His Excellency the President has looked at the economy and he wants to grow the economy, and one sector that he wants to use to grow the economy is the infrastructure development in Malawi. Therefore, contractors are key. That's why I decided that as we get prepared for this CDF, we are going to engage them. We have engaged them to make sure that they are ready, they know exactly what we'll be doing, exactly how we'll do it, and what we want to produce by the end of the day, according to the vision of His Excellency the President, Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika.
Earlier, the minister expressed satisfaction with the progress and quality of work in the construction of the Mzuzu City Council's new civic centre. He pledged government support in ensuring that the project is completed according to plan.
I must say I'm very impressed. The quality is excellent. Issues of funding, competing priorities shall always be there. There will never be a time when the government shall have all the money that is required. But His Excellency Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika is very committed to giving the people of Mzuzu a civic office that it delivers. So we are sure that once I present the report to the President, he will give us guidance on how best we progress. And I'm so sure that that civic office will be completed soon.
According to Mzuzu City Council's Chief Executive Officer, Gomezgani Nyasulu, the 17 billion kwacha civic center project will be completed by February 2026. Temba Mwale, MBC News, Mzuzu.
This is MBC News and you are with me, Evelis Chingambe. A reminder of the top stories. Government ministries, departments and agencies challenged to embrace digital transformation. Malawi Broadcasting Corporation's 2025 Entertainers of the Year event cancelled. And in business, the Malawi Stock Exchange registers a drop in shares traded and value during the month of November. Welcome back. The Malawi Broadcasting Corporation, MBC, has cancelled this year's Entertainers of the Year awards, citing an overwhelming workload that has left the broadcaster with insufficient time to properly organize the annual event. Public Relations and Customer Affairs Manager for MBC, Chisomo Mamadi, said the corporation has been handling a particularly demanding schedule in recent months, making it difficult to plan and deliver the ceremony to the standard expected by its audience. Mamadi explains more.
Yes, indeed, it is true that we have cancelled the 2025 edition of the Entertainers of the Year. Do you agree with me that 2025 has been a very busy an election year? And as a public broadcaster, we were very much engrossed to making sure that we give Malawians a comprehensive coverage of the general election. So that created a little time for us to prepare comprehensively for a wonderful edition, just as I've done over the years. And we also had Zokonda Mai after the election. So it has been a very busy time for the public broadcaster, overwhelmed with activities. So we do not want to give a half-baked edition of the 2025 Entertainers of the Year. That's why the cancellation. But soon we'll be sharing with the general public as to the next steps moving forward. I know the general public and even the artists themselves, in the creative industry, they look forward to Entertainers of the Year. But we had to do it in the interest of their industry as well. So I'm sure they will understand. But we'll be coming back to the general public and our key stakeholders on the next steps moving forward.
Tundapa, a network of civil society organizations in the country, has called for concerted efforts among stakeholders to spearhead initiatives aimed at increasing the participation of women and youth in decision-making positions ahead of the 2030 general election. The newly elected national coordinator, Shai Ali, made the call during a press briefing held after the network's elective conference in Blantyre.
Yeah, we've got what we would call political gains in regards to the past election on the 16th of September. We want to make sure that the gains that are there shouldn't be lost, and make sure that there were some gaps that were there to do with women and youth participation. This has got to be worked out on. We have to work out on them, make sure that in the next elections or in the all electoral process, youth and the women should actually be actively participating, not only as electorates that would go and vote, but they should as well make sure that they even contest in various political positions, and that would actually make the election, our democracy, inclusive in its nature.
Okay, what were the main factors that contributed to less turnout for women and youth to actively participate in the positions that you mentioned?
Political positions, they're associated with finances and other things to do with capacity. So most of our young people and women did not have a capacity. So I think it's our role now to make sure that we empower them. We give them the capacity so that they can stand on their own, and they should have the confidence to participate in such a process, electoral processes.
The Malawi Red Cross Society has launched a 2.4 billion kwacha lean season food response program in Blantyre. Speaking when initiating the program, the society's president, Innocent Majia, urged well-wishers and other organizations to join hands with Red Cross in assisting those affected by hunger in the country. Telson Magombo has compiled this report, being read by Ruth Chinangwa.
The project will see each beneficiary household receiving 90,000 kwacha for 4 months beginning this December. Speaking when launching the program, President for Malawi Red Cross Society, Innocent Majia, urged beneficiaries of the program to use the funds efficiently.
We hoped to go beyond what we have started today. We are starting with the 3 districts of Blantyre, Nsanja and Chikwawa, because we have received close to 2.4 billion. But our intention is to reach more districts. If we receive more funds today or tomorrow, we'll extend our response to other districts. So we have districts like Malombe and Zomba also.
On her part, Disaster Preparedness Officer in the Department of Disaster Management Affairs, Natasha Bengo, encouraged collaboration among different stakeholders to deal with the hunger situation in the country.
But there was a study that was done that if we invest in risk reduction and also in anticipatory action to build resilience of the countries, the community can build resilience of the communities. It means the communities will be able to respond on their own without waiting for the government to come to their rescue.
Over 40,000 people from Blantyre, Chihuahua and Nsanje districts are expected to benefit from the initiative.
In business news, the Malawi Stock Exchange has witnessed a drop in both shares traded and value during the month of November. A latest market performance report from the market released on Tuesday has revealed. More in this report by Justin Ngwell.
According to the report, the market transacted a total of 23.35 million shares at a total consideration of 16.16 billion kwacha in 4,360 trades last month. In the preceding month of October 2025, the market transacted a total of 38.83 million shares at a total consideration of 27.56 billion kwacha in 5,462 trades. This reflects a negative 39.85% decrease in terms of share volume traded and a negative 41.36% decrease in share value traded. Of the shares traded, 1.87 million NBS shares traded as negotiated deals at a total consideration of 1.22 billion kwacha. Even though the volume and the value dropped, the market registered a positive return on index as reflected in the upward movement of the Malawi All-Share Index, MAS, from 602,600.89 points registered in October 2025 to 619,709.36 points registered in November 2025, giving a month-on-month return on index of 2.8%. As a result of share price gains that were experienced, equity market capitalization increased in both Malawi kwacha and US dollar terms from 32.81 trillion kwacha, roughly 18.92 billion kwacha, to 33.71 trillion kwacha, which is roughly around $19.45 billion. The Malawi Stock Exchange is the local stock market with 16 companies ranging from different sectors. The banking sector takes lead in terms of companies that are on the market, with 5 players in the banking sector having their shares being traded on the market. The other industries include manufacturing such as Ilovo, real estate such as Mpiko, telecommunications such as TNM, and hospitality such as Sunbird Hotels and Resorts. Justin Mkweu, MBC News, Blantyre.
And now in sports, Mighty Wanderers are now top of the TNM Super League table following a 2-0 win over Karonga United at Kamuzu Stadium in Blantyre in a match that took place on Thursday. And still in sports, Africa Netball says it is impressed with Malawi's level of excellent organization for the ongoing Africa Netball Cup tournament. Africa Netball Acting President Rebecca Kwakusi met the recommendations in Lilongwe during the tournament progress media update, describing the competition as impressive and unpredictable.
Impression in terms of performance, if I may start there, of the teams. In terms of performance of the teams, as I have mentioned earlier, the surprise packages, which really the bar is high. It's not predictable. So it just says that the quality of netball in Africa is improving. And as I said in my opening remarks at the opening ceremony, I am worried and I am not happy with the number of countries here present, because Africa is more than 50 countries. And that is where I am pleading to the governments of Africa, those who are in the Ministry of Sports, the directors, the principal secretaries, the ministries, they need to support netball, men and women, so we can increase our numbers. But so far, I'm happy with the style of play. I'm happy with the organization of the event. Here and there, hiccups. Nothing is impossible to solve. There are problems. That's why we have been given brains to think, to be able to find solutions to it. So thus far, as Africa Netball, we are extremely satisfied.
Chairperson for the local organizing committee, Limbani Matola, hailed Africa Netball for the support, describing the success as a big collective effort. Matola has also hailed the fans for impressive turnout to watch the games, urging more patronage as the tournament reaches its climax with the last group stages matches today.
We are happy with how the corporates have supported us, how Malawians have embraced the patronage thus far. We can't complain so far. So we are excited that things are progressing very well. And actually, Africa Netball President, Madam Rebecca Tohases, has said Malawi has done extremely very well compared to the last time Namibia was hosting. The way we have handled this tournament, she's extremely happy. And we've also received the same compliments from One Netball to say we have raised the bar.
Malawi Queens and Kings will play their must-win final group stage matches against Tanzania and Kenya respectively to qualify for tomorrow's semi-final, with the finals scheduled for Sunday. And well, that item also concludes this edition of MBC News. A recap of our top stories before we leave. Government ministries, departments and agencies challenged to embrace digital transformation. Malawi Broadcasting Corporation's 2025 Entertainers of the Year event cancelled. And in business, the Malawi Stock Exchange registers a drop in shares traded and value during the month of November. For more on these and other stories, visit our digital platforms by scanning the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen. You've been with me, Evelis Jingambe. Thanks for watching and good morning.